So now it's just about getting folks comfortable. It's folks meaning
Yeah.
consultants who focus on the defined contribution marketplace, who probably do not work directly, unless they have a defined benefit client, do not work directly with these types of investments. It's not just private equity, it's hedge funds, hedge fund of funds, and other types of investments. It's getting them comfortable.
It's a very good question. So the impediments now, because we've handled all the mechanical stuff, and we've been operating it for a year, pretty flawlessly at a small scale with seed money. But the issue is now more cultural. And the best analogy I can come up with that I've used with my colleagues who keep saying, so Kevin, when's it happening? When's it happening? As you might imagine, within a firm, a small firm like ours, this is a big initiative and people are anxious, is driverless cars. The first time, what was your reaction the first time somebody said, Jeffrey, in 3 years you're going to be riding around in a driverless car, doing an interview like this in the back seat and not getting into an accident? It's not that comfortable for someone who's been driving their car for a long time. And it's a paradigm shift to start doing alternatives, I think, in a DC plan. You've had people stick their toe in the water with bricks and mortar real estate. You've had some people stick their toe in the water with hedge funds. There are even one or two that have been doing private equity in an illiquid format, but it hasn't become broad-based. And what you've got out there is you've got a bell curve of folks that are leaning forward and really considering doing it, and they're watching and meeting with us and our competitors. And you've got people who just will, are outsourced to an index TDF provider, and it's going to be years before they change. But again, I've seen this movie before with pension plan sponsors. In 1981, they weren't investing in private equity, and it was a much harder sale then because private equity hadn't existed for a full fund turn. KKR was a new firm. Warburg Pincus had been around since the late 70s, but they hadn't, proven the concept. Now we've got an asset class that people with a lot of transparency, because every state pension plan does it, and they average 10% of their assets. And so for a 30-year period of time, you can look at their performance in the alpha generation, and the sale is only, does it make sense to put this in a DC plan? And to me, it's a no-brainer. To some other folks that maybe went from the DB side to the DC side, or they worked in a company where the two plans are managed fairly closely together, it's a no-brainer. But to some other people, that's not my job. My corporation is saying your job is, don't get sued, get them to save more, get them to make better investment choices. And those are all good things that, those people should be striving for. But I think alpha generation, in a world where the DC plan is the only thing people are going to have to fall back on, and the average balance is something like $74,000. So all you're going to have is Social Security and, some modest amount of money. That's a scary thing. And that's why you have these movements and people making speeches about nationalizing the retirement plan, which I don't want to see.